funky. What we're gonna do right here is go back, way back.
Going way back to the early days.
Rockin' it. Got fresh stuff.
Money beat. You know how we give it, party people suck. Funky, don't listen to.
Y'all ready for this?
I'm going way back.
It's the Going Way Back show with Money B.
Money B.
Your home for classic hip hop, raw and uncut.
Uncut.
Really, even though we started a little late, I hope y'all stayed around and waited for your boy. But we got a great show. It's worth waiting for because I have very special guests, family in the house, Leila Steinberg.
Yay! Where's our hand claps?
You know, I don't know where to start, and it's because, you know, you have so many titles. I mean, you're producer, poet, management, producer, parent.
I was gonna say mom.
Yeah, I was about to say that's probably the hardest job, right?
Dancer, singer.
Everything. So we're gonna get into your business, and of course, probably most famously as Tupac's original manager, and we're gonna get into that because although I've known you for like 26 years.
I don't know. I feel like
It's been
tell everyone how
it's
old
been a
I
long
am.
time. I've known you, you know, my entire adult life, and there's still some things that I don't know that I want to know from you. So now that I got you, I'm going to ask you. But like always, I want to catch up with the crew, see what's been happening.
What's happening?
Always, how you doing?
I'm good. Had a little mishap with the daughter. She sprained her ankle a little bit, but that's why I was a little late. So
Really?
my apologies.
Did you have to take her to the hospital?
No, I just, you know,
she,
she tweaked. I was watching when she did. She was
was
doing
it
her ballet.
ACL damage?
and Just a twist.
Is she gonna be ready for the start of the season?
She gonna be all right.
Is she gonna miss any games? Damn.
Just heavy ice. She'll be all right.
Ice it up.
Yeah.
Hope she feels better soon.
She will.
Watch Super Bowl?
The massacre.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yay.
gosh, yes.
Right?
It was,
Where'd you watch it?
I was in Inglewood at my boy's house.
Really?
Yeah, I went over there and he invited me, and
I thought
Just-
you would be at a butt naked Jamie Foxx pool party.
he was in
But
New York.
I know, I seen him in New York. I said, he ain't got no pool
He was in
party.
New York.
It's
He
all
was
good.
promoting that movie.
What about you, Ty Teasy?
What about me?
What's going on? I mean, I know. Tell people what's happening with you. How you feeling?
I feel good.
Everything good with you?
Everything's good.
Well, that's what it do. So, Leila, let's jump right into this thing. You know, like I said, you basically ushered Pac in and ushered him through us, but the story that I get is that you had like a workshop. Was it called the Mic Sessions back then? And explain what the Mic Sessions is, how active it is, and you know, just give me the whole history of that.
It was not the mic sessions when when we started. It was in my living room, and really, ideally, education would be needs based. What you need, you get. And I never felt like we had a school system that addressed all people's needs. My mother was an activist when I was young. My father, a criminal lawyer. And just the things I witnessed and my understanding that art is the most powerful way to change the world. And so I wanted not only to be an artist, but to be a vehicle for other artists to do something that had never been done before. And I actually had a mentor, his name is Jack Healy, who started Amnesty International. And so when I was really young, I saw how he utilized artists to build movements. And I just think unconsciously or subconsciously, I wanted to do something really big like that. And I knew hip hop in the early days was the form that would change the planet in a way that we hadn't done before. And then I wanted to do things in schools and in the community that were different. And you know, I had never done it before. It wasn't like I had a blueprint or anyone that had ever done the things I saw that could be done. So I started in my living room with Ray Love, Puck, Jacinta. It was just a small group, and I thought I really knew something back then. Now I laugh because I don't know what I thought, but I thought I was the teacher, and I would give everyone an assignment every week because I built these school assemblies and programs around what we wrote every week.
Right.
And it was twofold. It was, number one, to help my ex-husband market artists that he didn't have a traditional way back then for hip-hop. So we would like have different artists, even short. Like we would have people do the school assemblies and they would just do one song that was clean. And so we would spend
How'd you do that?
Yeah, right.
They actually
we
had
would-
clean songs.
Bunch of
yeah,
instrumentals.
everyone had at least a clean song that they could do in front of students. So my living room was kind of like the development space, and it grew into what I call years later the mic sessions.
Now,
Right.
you were always a fan of hip hop, right?
I mean, I'm like,
Or were you
absolutely.
back then?
Yeah.
So,
when we first started,
huh?
when it was like Cool Herc days, and
Okay.
I work with Curtis Blow, you know.
And the reason I ask you this is that, you know, everybody has a first impression or something that you compare something to. And this is a two-part question. So when you first met Tupac and Ray Love, what MCs did they remind you of? Like you had to have something
They
to
didn't
base
remind me of like anyone. I definitely would say that, you know, some of the greats that I loved definitely, and I love all the grimy stuff. I loved Eazy-E and NWA and came from those circles, but I would definitely say that I come from a family that was politically committed to change, and so I actually held an audition in Santa Rosa looking for something that I hadn't seen or heard in our area. And Ray Love was 15. He saw my flyer, and I met him in front of Pioneer High School, I think, or Santa Rosa High. And I actually thought Ray was amazing, but his father didn't want him rapping. And so Ray couldn't, I was looking for my own artist that could represent the movement I wanted to see that I hadn't seen before. And I was a big fan of Rakim, you know,
Okay.
like that would be, if I was looking for something, I was looking
the
for,
knowledge.
you know, somebody that could penetrate and infiltrate in a way that Public Enemy couldn't, but that had that kind of fire.
Yeah, that edge.
And so anyway, the first song I ever heard Pac spit was really a poem, and I knew he was the one.
So he was that
In
guy.
like
One
that
poem.
minute, the first poem that came out of his mouth.
One
he
poem,
took
destined
my
for
breath
greatness.
away.
So
Nice.
the other part of that question is, like I said, about first impressions. Now you bought Tupac, you know, to us through Atron and whatnot. So my question is, what was your first impression of us when you first met us and got around us, Digital Underground, as a group and as individuals? Meaning me, Shock, Jimmy, Chamaster J.
I was
Fuse.
familiar already with Underwater Rhymes and just the early stuff. I had met Atron because of his early days with JJ Fad and working on tour, and so he would shoot me the material that he was working with. He actually lived in LA and you guys were in the Bay.
Yeah, but hearing the music is different from actually meeting the people.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
What did you
you-
think? Like, what kind of, when you
I was excited. I was excited to meet all of you. You were the shit, really. You were, and you were also in your own lane. There was nobody like Digital. And I don't know, you were fun and you were funny and you were.
That's what I'm saying, because we were a group, but we were all so different. So
Everyone.
I'm just wondering what was your thought? Like what did you think of Shock G? What did you think of Chopmaster J? What did you think of Money B? Like, God, these guys are different than each other even.
It was actually the perfect. That's why I came to Atron, because I felt like no one was in a box. Everyone was so different, and Shock was a great producer. And I don't know. I just thought it would be perfect for Pac to to get groomed and to grow with you guys. But you were a wild bunch. I mean,
Right, because you met us in our infancy, basically. We did have underwater rhymes, but that was before we did
that
Do
was
What
before.
You Like.
But
Yeah.
that was like my introduction. And yeah, gosh.
We were kids.
And you were so young. I don't
I
know.
know.
You were really young.
Yeah,
And
you-
your dad is a trip. I love your dad. Your
Hopefully he's
mom.
watching. What up, Bobby?
You have great parents.
Right? Yeah, I probably looked like I was like 19, but I
Like,
probably looked like I was like
11?
15 or 11 back then. So, what's happening? Oh, that's the key for the
not
break.
me. Yeah.
I know. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk to Leila. Now, Going Back Show with Money B. You know, I just had let a little bit of that rock. That was Tupac, Never Be Beat, produced by Ryan D. And I think earlier we heard, was it Let Knowledge Drop? Is that it? Let Knowledge Drop? Did we hear that?
Yeah.
Let Knowledge Drop. That was
Yeah.
Strictly Dope. Produced by Chopmaster J. What up, Jimmy? If you're checking us out. We actually have a caller on the line for you, Leila. Caller, you there? Caller.
Hello, it's J-Mix.
What up, J Mix? Shout out to TupacNation.net. You got a question for Leila?
No doubt. I wanted to say I love the show, and I just talked to Mac Mall, and he said that Tupac directed his music video to Ghetto theme, and I just wondered if this was his debut, and if Leila has any memories from the shoot.
Of course I do, because I had to ask Pac to do it for us. I was really wanting to get Maul out there, and I brought Maul's stuff to Pac, and he said he loved it, and he actually that same weekend directed Last Night by Ray Love and Ghetto Theme by Mac Mall. It was his directorial debut, and we actually had a lot of plans to put artists out together, and we never got to realize a lot of the stuff we were going to do together, but I still work with Pac every day, so, you know.
It's all
Yes.
good. J Mix, thanks for calling in.
Thank you, Money B, and one love, everybody.
All right,
Thank
man.
you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. So, talking about Mac Mall, people don't know Mac Mall. He was artist out of the Bay Area, you know, successful
He is.
artist out of the Bay
he's
Area.
still doing his
and
thing.
still doing his thing. He's still
Killing it.
rocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how did you hook up with Maul? Because he was younger, you know?
Maul was 15, and actually Kyrie is the reason. Kyrie was working with Ray Love, and they were looking for a manager for Maul. And I was really wanting to transition from just managing to helping run a label. And Kyrie brought me in actually to manage Maul and to help bring YBB, Young Black Brother Records, to the forefront. And Kyrie and his brother Draka gave me a great opportunity to kind of grow my skill. And Tupac initially really believed that I could be a great manager. He did a lot of, I'd say he discovered me as much as people think I discovered him. He
Right.
taught me so much. And then Maul, a lot like Pac, young Gemini, he was like, you are going to manage me. And I was hesitant and resistant. And like Tupac, between Kyrie and Maul, they started passing my number out. They appointed me. And that's how it's been for me. You know, I've never looked for anyone. I don't even know if I had confidence or self-esteem enough that I believed I could do anything like that.
But
So
you did it.
they believed in me and helped me do it. And anyone that I've ever worked really in any capacity with was someone that found me. I've never gone and looked for anyone. It was someone that came to me, and then I couldn't turn away.
Well, you must be, if they find you, you must be the luckiest
Okay.
son of a gun ever, because they keep finding you.
Right.
You know?
So weird.
Because, you know, even when you can't find you, I'll be looking for you. I'll be like, where you at? Because, I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on. And, of course, we're going to talk about some of the things you have going on currently. But right now, it's time for the old school new news with Ty and Teasy. What up?
Okay, so this week in the news, we are going to start off with George Zimmerman. We all know he got acquitted for the murder of Trayvon Martin, but he wants to do a boxing match, a celebrity boxing match.
This cat.
And
A lot of nerve.
right? And the Game and DMX both said that they would fight him, but he wants to fight Kanye West. And the reason why he wants to fight Kanye West is because he says that Kanye West beats up on defenseless people. Go figure.
Yeah, he just kills him.
Right.
What a dick.
So if this fight does take place, it will happen on March 1st. Only 100 people will be in attendance. It's not open to the public. And
Pay-per-view?
I was going to say, if you want to watch it, you
Gotta
can watch
see
it online as a paid subscription. And part of the proceeds that he's getting from the show or the boxing match will go to an animal rescue charity
Why don't they go to Trayvon's family?
or some type of,
Knucklehead.
yeah.
Right.
I think he should just be thrown in prison and let them beat him up in there.
Yeah.
That's how I feel
Let him
about it.
fight.
He won't
fight
make it
some-
one day in there. I don't think he'll make it 2
Wait,
hours.
so did Kanye even agree to this?
No, he hasn't said anything about it. The only two people that came out and said they wanted to fight was DMX and the Game.
And you know, DMX unleashed some rage on that.
Well, I heard
Yeah.
DMX said he was going to pee on him after he knocked him out.
Yeah, he did say that.
Sounds like DMX.
Yeah,
It does.
Take
Smoke
that,
some,
homie.
and smoke some crack in your face.
Blow the crack smoke in his face. All right,
DMX,
so
homie.
Timberland is, he did an interview last month where he says he's working with Jodeci on a comeback album.
Finally.
Right. There's no release date or title for that album, but we'll keep you posted on that. Tech Nine, he is going out on the road on his tour, Independent Grind Tour 2014. It starts off in April. He's going to hit 70 cities. And if you want more information about that, you can go to therealtech9.com.
Let me just say, Tech Nine right now is probably the hardest working artist
Yeah,
He
nonstop.
do be getting it in.
in
Nonstop.
show business. He stays on his grind.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't even think he do Christmas. It's like
No.
Tech
he
Nine.
like Mother's Day.
Day off. I said
I
for
said
what?
for what?
Day off. I lose money on my day off.
Right?
And lastly, just want to send out some birthday shout outs to Timo. His birthday was on February 2nd.
Who?
Timo from Goody Mob.
Okay.
Nice.
And he
Happy
turned
birthday.
42. And
Hey.
today is Cameron's birthday. And he turned 38.
Happy birthday,
Mr. Pink Man.
Aquarius.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And that's this week's old school new news. With Ty Teasy on the Going Way Back show.
Time teasy.
Time tease.
Wait, how we looking before we go to break? Before I start talking shit.
3 minutes.
3 minutes? I'm gonna say this shit real fast. No,
Hilarious.
no. Leila, we're talking about, you know, as far as you always seem to find these people that you say they find you, but I think you definitely find them. Tell us about this artist, Fana, who, you know, I was pleased to meet last year when she came to the, you know, second annual Tupac birthday celebration.
Oh, the young Gemini, Fauna.
Right, and
Fauna Noise.
Fana Noise.
Fauna
Tell us
Noise.
about Fana Noise.
Fauna's been coming to my workshop since she was young. She
I'm
actually
sorry. Where is your workshop?
I have workshops all over, but the closest one that I teach is Wednesday nights. I'm in Santa Monica at the Pico Youth Center, and people can go to my website to find out about workshop. aim4theheart.org. I got to tell you about that too, because it's I've changed the acronym for AIM many, many times, but it really stems from my early work with Tupac, and just at my age and kids, grandkids, really the heart's all that matters. So Aim for the Heart. We're an organization that utilizes arts to have emotional impact, emotional education, and emotional healing.
So before we left, we were talking about Fana, and tell us, you know, more about her, where you found her, and you know, I've heard
That's
some
another
things.
one.
I heard
Look.
some things that she's maybe doing. So I mean, if it's happening or not,
So-
tell me about what's happening.
Honestly, I never stopped my workshop because that was really healing for me. But after Pac died, I think that I just really felt so defeated, and I was so hurt that I hated the business, and stuff fell apart. I don't know. I feel like there's a 10-year gap where I don't know where I was other than raising children and doing nonprofit work. And actually, Fauna was a student, brilliant talent that was in my workshop that about 3 years ago, she had been away for a little while and came back and said, "You're going to manage me." And I said, I don't really do that anymore.
Say story of your life.
And Fauna was like, "Oh, but you're going to manage me." And she's so talented, and I did what I always do. Well, I'll help you. I don't know about managing. And there's a lot of mad at me people all over. So many people. I get some shitty letters. But there's a lot of people that think I could do a lot and help them. And a lot of people really don't know what I can do, don't really know my life. It's always kind of an interesting thing. So I often didn't know that I could do anything for people. And so Fauna would not leave me alone. And around the time Fauna came back, a situation came up with Earl.
Which we're going to talk about in depth.
But really, we can talk about that. But I ended up working with Earl, and so Fauna motivated me. Earl got me back in the game. I couldn't run anymore, and now I know I didn't complete what I started. So
Now you back
It's
full
your
fledged.
calling.
here I am.
That's right. So speaking of calling, we actually have another caller on the line. Caller, you there?
Yo, what up, man?
What up? Who this?
What up? This Money B?
Yeah, who's this?
Oh, what's up, man? This is Mexicali, man. I thought I was live right now. I was over here looking at it on the air.
You are live, Mexicali.
Mexicali.
What's going on? You got a question for Leila?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say, Leila, you know what? I grew up to Pac's music. You know what I mean? I grew up to the whole thing, from Digital Underground to everything. And, you were a main inspiration behind that. You were a main drive. And I always appreciated you. You know what I mean? Every time I seen the interviews and everything, I was just like, man, thank God for her because, first of all, you gave Pac a place to stay. You know what I mean? And when nobody else was probably trying to take a chance on him, you probably took that chance and just like, you know what I mean? You were probably one of the only ones that really believed in him at that time for you to be able to do what you did. And, you know what I mean? You basically blessed all of us, you know what I mean, by doing that, by taking care of him and everything, you know?
Thank you. I think it was like
I definitely appreciate that.
a real united force of people, and everything is timing, and I feel really blessed that Pac came into my life, and I'm a different parent and person because he did. So thank you.
No doubt.
Mexicali, thanks for calling.
I'm a musician too, so you know what I mean? Are you still doing management today?
I am.
Didn't you just hear her talk about that?
Somewhere like I could probably get in contact with you
Go
or
to
something.
my
'Cause I
website,
got
aimfortheheart.org.
Okay, so we're going to let you go, Mexicali. Go to aimfortheheart.org.
Thanks for calling.
All right?
No doubt. God bless.
All right, same
God
to you.
bless you.
Now, you brought up something. It's very interesting. You are a parent, but you actually have a son who's
Naiku.
sitting right over there, young Naiku. He's an aspiring artist as well.
We're about to play some of his music right now. Just
and
kidding.
I've heard his music, and it's actually pretty dope.
It's really
Now,
good.
How is it, you being in the game so long and knowing what it all entails and what it's all about, and also to be objective because it's your son, and how you basically manage how much you expose him to and what you let him do as far as getting into the music business?
It's so difficult, and it's been, as much as I love what I do, it's been painful, and it's toxic. An artist's path is a different one, you know that, and
Right.
you no longer belong to your mate, your family, your loved ones. You kind of make a commitment to the planet, and I don't wish this path on anyone. So I really actually have 3 adult daughters, and I have grandkids now, and I really kept my kids at a
Away.
certain point away because I knew it wasn't healthy for me, and I didn't want to do that to my kids anymore. And then here comes my son. I was actually in the Bay one time about 4 years ago with Dot, who has the mechanics, and
Right.
Free Jack.
Shout out to
and
Dot.
I was at a meeting, and Naiku was in the back with Dot in the studio. They were just messing around, and Dot came in the room. He's like, "Dang, you didn't tell me about your son." I said, "Tell you what?"
Yeah.
And he said,
He was
"Well,
hiding that shit.
yeah, and they ended up recording 3 songs in a weekend. Naiku was 11, and I realized he had a gift, but I still suppressed it. That us parents, sometimes we preach one thing, and then we're big hypocrites and contradictions with our own children.
Because you see the other side. That's
I
why.
wanted a scholar, and I wanted a son that used his athletic ability for school.
See, so I guess it would have been easy if you was whack. Then we're gonna say, get the
You
fuck
just
out
had
of
to be
here.
good, huh?
But you just had to be good. But
Very talented.
I will say that it being a person who's been in music and having parents who were very supportive, it means all the difference in the world when your parents are supportive. And I think it's healthy that if that's what he's going to do, that you actually know it.
I do.
You know what I mean?
I
So
tell him all the time, my son doesn't really know who I am.
Yeah, and they of course, they're not going to listen to you right now, but you should still keep plugging away and just giving them that game. And it should work out, I hope. Now, actually, once I knew you were going to be on the show, I actually went and followed you on Twitter. You got to follow me back.
Look, I was about to say, I just started doing my own Twitter,
Right, so
I do my own Instagram. I'm finally up on the Instagram thing.
so I get on your Twitter account, and I'm seeing texts from Deshaun Jackson's mama, and I'm seeing stuff about this. What is it? The Bone Thug Texas something tour with the
shout out to Truth About Tupac, Asher Underwood.
Shout out to bombfirst.com as well. So tell me about what's your relationship with Deshaun Jackson?
Well, I actually we have a part of AIM. We have a whole program in Long Beach. We did a lot of stuff at Poly. Madi Soul runs the Long Beach division of our work and then also helps run the organization. And so I followed Deshaun from Long Beach to Powell. And the thing about Deshaun is it's not what you do when everyone's watching, but what you do when no one looks. And Deshaun wants to bring his whole community, the kids he grew up with, everyone. He wants to elevate everybody. And he really, he has a beautiful heart. And so as I've watched him, I really wanted to reach out, and next thing I knew, I was connected to Deshaun, and I asked him if he'd go with me to San Quentin prison and do some high school assemblies, and this was years ago, and he's never stopped. So for everyone that doesn't know, when Deshaun is not playing ball and it's off season, he is doing something every week for the youth. He does a lot of stuff with my organization. I do stuff with his organization, and I got to go with him and his mom and his family to the Pro Bowl. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I never take time off, and that was, thank you guys. Thanks to Sean. Thank you, Gail.
Right, so it's that's just a testament. You can't always read a book by its cover. People just see him on TV.
They have
scoring
such a
touchdowns
perception of who Deshaun is, but he reminds me so much of Pac in that way, because Pac had to morph into who he wanted to save. And so, what is a thug? Our labels. And Deshaun, people identify him. And is it commercial time?
It's commercial time. You know how it is.
I'm getting good. See,
Yeah, you catch on real
Good.
quick.
So we're gonna break for a commercial. When we come back, more with Leila Steinberg right here on the Going Way Back Show with
Not
Money
following
B.
on Twitter.
Money me.
Earlier you spoke about Earl. If people don't know, we're talking about Earl's Sweatshirt, part of Our Future, Tyler Creator and all that whole crew. Leila, you actually manage Earl's Sweatshirt?
I do.
Okay, so we're gonna check out.
She doesn't want to say.
We're gonna check out a small clip from Earl. This is Whoa, and then we'll come back and talk about that whole situation. That's your artist. Now, Leila, I have a question for you. Being that you like you said, you've been with it since the beginning, what do you notice? And I'm talking about personally being around these new age artists. Just because when I was coming up, and maybe it's because we came up in like a sampling age, but even before that, I had an appreciation for what came before me. Meaning, when I came, I kind of looked at, Grandmaster Flash. I wanted to find their old records. I even wanted to know about Stevie Wonder. I wanted to know about Marvin Gaye, the Isley Brothers. I wanted to know what was before me. You have a personal relationship. From the outside, it seems like they don't really have an interest in knowing what came 3 years ago.
But it's not true.
Okay, that's why I said so.
Perception is so interesting. And
right, and then that's my perception, because it seems like
I mean,
kind of like this whole hipster hip hop thing. Like we don't give a fuck about nothing that happened yesterday.
I think that generationally, it's really important to have some kind of rebellion. And really, my son probably introduced me to Earl's music with the first video that he did.
Okay.
And I ended up, a man named Larry Bresner, who's a manager here in LA, he's managed a lot of A-list actors. He introduced me to Earl's mom. He was involved in the school Earl went to, and I actually worked with Earl via Skype and telephone for the first 6 months of our relationship. Was really for me to help him with dealing with the facility that he was in.
Right,
He
and that's an
was-
interesting story. So
it's a
tell us
whole
about
story.
that.
It's a long story.
If you
but
can truncate it, kind
he
of
got,
give us the.
he got in trouble, and he ended up in a facility, a kind of a lockup facility. But
Okay.
he ended up getting sent overseas to a facility. He can't escape from an island, so he was really stuck. And I work with youth. I'm still very committed to working in the juvenile halls, the prisons. I work at San Quentin a lot with No More Tears, and I'm very passionate about changing the economics and education in this country and internationally. So anyway, I was brought in to motivate him to finish his levels, complete his program, and get the heck off the island. And I ended up going to Western Samoa, getting him, bringing him back. And I've never managed him by myself. It's a group effort. Larry Bresner brought me in, and now Chris Clancy, who manages Odd Future, and I have partnered up to really long-term develop and manage Earl's career.
So he wasn't originally part of any of your workshops or anything.
He participated in my workshop when he came back from Samoa, probably because he had to. And a lot of kids come to my workshop because they have to
Right.
for community service. And it's a combination of artist/human development. I say we do hard work.
Rehabilitation.
Well, actually, rehabilitation means someone was habilitated in the first place. And in this country especially,
Yeah.
we're not even habilitated.
Not
we
even?
start out kind of like messed up. We have to find our way to being healthy. So
That's-
I've learned a lot from Earl too, and he's a brilliant young talent, and he actually loves and studies many artists. So
Okay.
contrary to what my even perception early on might have been, you know, I think that they're kind of punk rock meets hip hop. They are.
Right. Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. That's kind of like the image that
Kind
they
of like the
have
FU.
to, have to carry. And, you know, it's surprising, like you said, when you meet them and they actually like, oh, man, you know, I checked you out, this, that, and other.
I mean, Earl's really kind of a humble, different guy. He doesn't like the press. He says no to so many things I would probably say yes to, just because I come from a generation of hungry, like, appreciate any opportunity. And
Eager, yeah.
he's just in a different space. He does art because he loves it and says no to the majority of things that come up and won't work with someone for the money ever. And, you know, he's helped me reframe kind of my thoughts. And I'm awkward and very insecure, and I appear to be different to people than I really am.
Yeah, because you would never know that.
No,
Like you
I
walk
didn't
in the
know.
room
Right.
like this. So
I really am, though.
before we get out, of course, everybody knows that there's a Tupac movie in the works. And, you
LT
know,
Hutton.
right?
Yep.
Shout out to LT,
Emmett
Morgan
Furlow.
Creek, and
Emmett
everybody
LT.
else. And, you know, obviously, you're going to be involved to some extent, and hopefully I get to do my thing. But
I know, right?
what do you hope at the end of the day? What do you hope this movie portrays about Tupac? Or what do you hope that this movie does?
Well, I hope the movie does what he did, and that we have insight into who Tupac is to the planet, and that his fight was a fight to be willing to tell the truth and to look at the hard subjects and to address racism in a way that we never have before, and economic balance. And the reason that I changed my organization to Aim for the Heart is because I really know that the most important work on the planet is heart work, that we have to come to a place where we're emotionally okay.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter if you're from privilege or poverty. We all are fucked up, so I hope we're not edited.
It's okay.
But, on some level or another, we have to come
It's
to a
fucked
place where our
ya.
hearts are okay or the money doesn't matter. And so my work with Pac, if you really look at every song he ever wrote, is like curriculum. It's like a study on human beings and their emotions and their feelings. And the reason the world loves him is he cut right through to your heart. And so the work I do every day with young people and that I hope to impart when I leave the planet is that I touched a lot of hearts and I help people identify what they feel and begin to manage their pain. And so it's through music and the arts and athletics and dance that we find a pathway to be okay as human beings. So I wanted to cut all the bullshit out and just let people know I'm coming for your heart. And
Nice.
Well, that's dope because, I was reading something the other day, and I believe it's a quote from Chopmaster Jay, actually. And he was saying that, and I get this all the time, people, they think of Tupac as like this, thug life. He's this hardened guy, but like he's hard 24 hours a day.
Like he was
And,
really Bishop.
People come up and be like, hey, yeah, I'm hard, and I want to be just like Pac, da-da-da. And he said, well, if you want to be like Pac, read a book.
Yeah,
That's what he
it's
is.
like,
he was so sensitive. He
Right.
was,
Everybody tried to be what, like what he was in the videos, like acting.
Yeah.
He was acting.
He
in
was.
He read
his
poetry.
videos,
He wrote poetry.
right.
He was a
he
sensitive
was
He was
very
politically
sensitive,
inclined. He
super
knew stuff.
passionate, and the thing is, he had this huge heart. I have a quote I could leave you guys with. I have
Okay.
a poem that I wrote, and actually Jay-Z, there's a book called The Bandana Republic, and it's an anthology of gang members' writings all over the country and their affiliates. So
Okay.
this is, Pac's work. I said, sometimes the brightest minds are behind bars, blinded, because brilliance misdirected is lethal. So, I want to remove the bars, and I want to let people know that,
Unleash the brilliance.
and that's Pac wanted to change the system. Love you
Beautiful.
guys. Thank
So
you.
Before we
you.
get out, just let everybody know where to find you.
Leila _Steinberg at Instagram, or go to my website. It'll tell you where to find me, and you can always go to Truth About Tupac. I'm really connected to Asher and his work. All of those out there keeping us alive and the work alive are really important. So
Yeah.
Asher keeps up with me. If you go to Truth About Tupac, you can find me.
Once again,
Nice.
Thank you guys,
Shout out
all
to
of
you.
you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
TupacNation.net, bombfirst.com. Tanteezy, tell them where to find you.
I'm at Tanteezy. That's Tanteezy. TON_TEEZY.
Always.
Always. Instagram is R_always, and my Twitter is always in your ear.
That's right. And of course,
Yay.
you can find the big dog
The big dog.
at Going Way Back Show and at MoneyB69.
Thanks, man.
Layla, we appreciate you.
Thanks for
Thank
As
you.
coming.
always,
Appreciate it.
until
Thank
next
you.
time, people, be easy.
Easy.
Yes.
It's the Goin Way Back Show with Money B. Classic hip hop, raw and uncut.
Thanks for visiting the Goin Way Back Show channel. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe, and click that like button.